Welcome, everyone. We're here for a special message from Adamus. This is a last-minute request from him. He would like to share some information with us, and so Jeff has agreed on the fly to have us record this very special message for each of us. So we're here at the Villa Amio, again in this beautiful natural setting. So please, get comfortable and take some good deep breaths as we get ready for this message. So with that, as always, we take that pause. We slow down and just take that good deep breath. That pause of craziness all around us, we just take this moment to honor ourselves with a deep and conscious breath, allowing the energies to flow, to expand. Energies expanding within us and without. Breathing beyond, taking in the good deep breath, the breath of life. Really allow yourself to feel this message, not just the words, but the energy. Take the good deep breath, and feel Adamus there, as always, with each of us. Breathe for you. Breathe and allow.
I am that I am. Adamus of Saint Germain. And thank you for the introduction and the breathing, dear Linda of Isa. Indeed, I awoke Caldera at approximately 4:30 a.m. his time here in Kona, Hawaii. Woken to tell him of the special news and to suggest that he sit today with dear Linda and provide this message that I have for you. It is December 18th. And the reason why I woke Caldera was to tell him now that as of last night, there are now 10,000 Ascended Masters. In other words, the Ascended Masters Club has grown. Yes, we have 10,000 members. These are humans. These are angelic beings who have ascended. They left the physical body, they left the planet Earth, and they're now totally ascended, what you would call enlightened beings. They've completed the journey of cycles of lifetimes on the planet Earth. And while 10,000 is simply a number, there's a certain significance of it. Of course, 10,000, a certain numerical mass that was reached. But a celebration that now we see that more and more ascended masters, more and more humans who have been angels are now completing the cycles on Earth. Now, 10,000 is not that many compared to all the soul beings who have ever gone by way of planet Earth, all the incarnations. But what we're seeing by this is slowly but definitively, we're changing the cycles of humans getting lost or stuck on planet Earth. 10,000 ascended masters now. I'd like you to take a deep breath and feel into that. Feel into the joy, the celebration. Feel into the fact that perhaps in the future now, humans won't need to go through so many lifetimes to come to their true inner divine realization. Perhaps getting lost, perhaps all the suffering and the struggling will come to an end. But now here we are with 10,000 ascended masters. And it all happens at a very auspicious time. It all happens at this time of the year 2020, a year I'm sure none of you will ever forget, whether you're still in human form or whether you're in the realms of the rest of the Ascended Masters. 2020, nothing like it. The year started with the Order of the Ark closing, this portal by which humans have come to Earth, the very portal that really is the keeper of time on the planet. That was one of the primary purposes of the Order of the Ark, the keeper of time. Now, I'm not saying that their chambers were filled with a lot of clocks and everyone wore watches, but they were responsible for maintaining the element of time, which is so crucial to the experience of being human on Earth, but yet can truly trap somebody in that realm. The Order of the Ark was also the entry portal for so many who, for the very first time, were coming to Earth to take on human incarnations, and a portal that all of you came through when you first came to this planet. 2020 was also the time of the angelic families disbanding. We talked about it early in the year when the angelic call went out to all angelic beings other than those on the planet Earth to gather. And so they did, and in that gathering, the news came that all the angelic families, all 144,000, were disbanding. And then, indeed, that took place. The angelic beings who were part of these families dispersed throughout all of creation, many of them going to what you now call the many new earths. And in doing so, it also led to no more interference from outside types of entities or groups, the extraterrestrials, the aliens, or anyone else. They've been interfering with the planet Earth for so very, very long, but no longer allowed, no longer tolerated. And of course, as you know, it was also the year of your coronavirus. The coronavirus swept through the planet early in the year, and it forced so many changes upon the planet. Of course, there was a lot of fear, a lot of concern, and the coronavirus itself led to so many different conspiracies, but at its core, this virus was here to shift consciousness. In a way, there's many similarities between the coronavirus and the sexual energy virus. They are changers of consciousness. The entire planet, in an unprecedented move, went into near shutdown, near lockdown, so that people would not pass this virus to one another so readily. But more than anything, it was a time for people to go inside of themselves, to assess what they're here for, to take a look at their lives, to improve their house, well, not just their physical house that they live in, but to improve their divine house. And you've been contending with this coronavirus throughout the year. It's disrupted so many things. It's disrupted going out for entertainment, going out for dining, for parties. It's disrupted travel. It's disrupted the way businesses run and everything else. But from the coronavirus also come many, many good things that the planet will learn to appreciate in the years to come. So what a year it's been, and now there are 10,000 ascended masters. All of this comes now at the close of the year 2020. All of this comes at the time right about at the winter solstice, December 21st. The winter solstice marks the beginning of a new era, primarily with nature on the planet, but it also affects humans. It's a new era, it's a new timing. It's the end of the dark period, the shorter days, the darker days, and now going into the light period, the longer days. So here we also have another event that many of you have heard about. It's being called the Grand Conjunction. This is the alignment of Jupiter and Saturn. Now, please understand that the planets don't dictate your life, but the planets and planetary movements, they do provide certain new opportunities when one chooses to take advantage of them. Here we have Jupiter moving into Aquarius. Jupiter, with its leadership, with its opportunities for health and wealth and joy, enjoyment. Saturn, with its focus on personal responsibilities, Saturn sometimes setting great limits, but more than anything, the real value of Saturn is personal responsibility. And when one takes personal responsibility, it changes how they work with energy. It changes how they manifest and how they create things. So we have this amazing series of events right here at the end of your year 2020. We have the winter solstice, the grand conjunction, and we have, of course, the 10,000 ascended masters. And what can you take away from this? What are the important things? For you personally, let's not look at the planet right now, but let's look at you personally. First of all, at the end of this long and often challenging year, at a time which is truly the year of realization for you and for Shambra, it's a time of new beginnings, a new era, a new path. It's the perfect time right now to allow your energy to serve you like never before. No excuses, no holding back, but to allow energy to serve you. Let's take a breath with that and realize now all of this that we've talked about for years, all we've gone through together now is truly the highest potential for that to take place. Right now at the end of the year 2020. And the other important takeaway from all this, if you choose to realize these potentials that are now available, so strongly available to you right now in these days, is personal freedom. Personal freedom. I'm going to be talking more about that. Of course, I have talked about it in the past at length, but now more than ever, personal freedom. And personal freedom, as good as it sounds, also has, well, it has some rather challenging parts to it, which we're going to be getting into. But personal freedom. A long time ago, I asked, are humans truly ready for freedom? And while so many who were there at that live shout nodded their head, yes, I felt the answer was no, they actually weren't. And to a large degree, they still aren't. But for you right now, more than ever, is that opportunity for personal freedom. It ties back to energy, realizing that all the energy is yours. And therefore, there's a personal freedom, not having to rely on anyone else. Not even having to worry about what's happening externally with the rest of the world, with the rest of humanity, because you now have access to that true personal freedom. Well, you don't have to worry about all the elements that might take away from your freedom, because you have that potential to be innately free. What's happening right now also at the end of this year 2020 is a incredibly large weakening of external power. Huge weakening of external power. Power is an issue that I've talked about at length with all of you. Power is an illusion. There is no such true thing as power, but when people believe it and when they allow this element of power into their lives, then it has an influence, whether it's real or not, tangible or not. But then it becomes so. With all the events taking place right now, at the end of 2020, there is a tremendous weakening of external power. External power is actually woven into mass consciousness because so many believe in it and so many abide by external powers. But now more than ever is the time to realize that these external powers, whether they be governments or religions or bosses or rules and regulations, whatever they happen to be, whether they happen to be manipulative people in your life, manipulative public figures, there's a great weakening of external power. I feel that the planet is going to start feeling this very, very soon. But for you, you could feel it right now. The grip that external power has over you is releasing. And then right now is a time for great personal transformation. You've been transforming, yes, indeed. You've been going through so much these years. But right now, particularly in these end days, these last few days of 2020, is the time to allow the personal transformation. Not just think about it, not try to outline what it's like, not trying to go through any exercises in your mind, any disciplines or anything else, but simply allowing personal transformation. You don't even have to know what it is or where it ends up. No, that's not even, you don't want to do that. It's simply allowing. You have all these things churning within you, all these different dynamics in your life, whether it's your own coming to realization, whether it's physical or mental or anything else, but whether it's releasing things and letting go of ancestral karma or any of these other things, all these things spinning and moving and churning within you, energies that are stirred up, and now is perhaps the best opportunity you've ever had simply to allow these personal transformations to come to their next cycle, to get off of that old struggling way of personal transformation, the way of suffering, and now to allow a grace and an ease in your personal transformation. 10,000 Ascended Masters now. It's quite a celebration at the Ascended Masters Club. Ought to be going on for weeks, I'm sure. 10,000 Ascended Masters, because it indicates also that there are many, many more to come. For eons of time on the planet, a number of Ascended Masters grew very, very slowly, especially in the beginning. Even in the past century, in the past decade, the numbers have been growing slowly. But now, if you were to look at this, you were to graph it or put it on a chart, it is accelerating. More Ascended Masters. With that, it adds a type of gravity of its own, a gravity that allows people to ride the wave of their own realization in their own life. Now, many, many people are, as you know, going into awakening, from awakening into their mastery. It can be a very difficult and challenging path. But with this mass, this momentum of 10,000, soon to be many more Ascended Masters, it provides a dynamic to make it easier for those who come next. 10,000 Ascended Masters shining their light on the planet at a time coming off of one of the most difficult and challenging years for this planet in so many ways, but one of the greatest years of potential and shift and change. 10,000 Ascended Masters, not trying to inflict their will upon the planet, but rather shining their smiles, their light upon humanity, saying, yes, it can be done. You can release yourself from the elements of power, the elements of constant lifetime after lifetime, the elements of the ancestors, the elements of time. You can release yourself from that to become a realized being and then eventually an Ascended Master. And on Earth now, there are close to 10,000 embodied masters on the planet. That includes many Shambhara who simply came to their realization, especially towards the middle to the end of this year. Others who would not call themselves Shambhara, but approximately 10,000 embodied masters on the planet. Now, the number doesn't need to correlate. It doesn't need to be a one-for-one trade-off with the number of Ascended Masters, but oddly enough, synchronistically enough, or perhaps simply by grace, as there are 10,000 Ascended Masters, there are approximately 10,000 embodied masters on the planet. There's something lining up here, lining up with the numbers, something lining up with the planets, with Saturn and Jupiter, something lining up with all of this occurring right about the time of the winter solstice. Something is in the air. Take a good deep breath and breathe it in and allow it. Something is in the air. Something. Potentials, shifts and changes, coming off of a year of struggles, be it transformation. Something is in the air. What's in the air for the planet, and some will realize it, many might not. But this message is for and about you. Something is in the air. Going from an external grip of power to internal creativity. Going from external controls, external limitations, things put on you by others, by society and mass consciousness, now going into your true personal freedom. You'll also see now we've reached that point. You could say it's like coming to the top of the roller coaster ride. We've reached that point now, here at the end of the year, where even this COVID now begins to slowly but surely disappear from the planet. Even COVID, because COVID, the coronavirus, I prefer to use that term, the coronavirus was here for a purpose, a transformation. And that purpose has been served, so now there's really very little need anymore for the coronavirus to continue its shifting of consciousness. The shift is here and it's occurring. Yes, Caldra's asking me, well, what about the vaccinations? Well, the vaccinations that happen to be coming out right now at the end of the year, at the time of this grand conjunction, at the time of the 10,000 ascended masters, yes, the vaccinations will have an impact on reducing and eventually eliminating this coronavirus. But I have to tell you that it's not just the vaccination. There's so much more to it. And as I said a long time ago when this virus appeared, I said, it'll do its work and then it will just disappear. It will go out almost as quickly as it came in, and that's what's going to happen. Many will say it's because of the vaccinations, but the truth is that it's done its job. It's time for it to go. So over these next few months, it'll pretty rapidly start to disappear off the face of the planet as we enter into this new era. For each of you, now more than ever, is the time to let your energy serve you without holding back. Perhaps that's the most important point here. You'll remember things like 10,000 ascended masters. You'll remember things like the grand conjunction. But the most important takeaway here is now more than ever, it's time to let your energy serve you. You don't have to tell your energy what to do. You don't have to put it in your daily planner. You don't have to develop a list of energy goals for the coming year. You don't have to harness your energy. You don't have to control it in any way whatsoever. And you also never have to fear it again. You never have to worry about being overwhelmed by energy. You never have to worry about that energy having power, your energy dominating you. Now is the time more than ever to let that energy, it's all yours. It doesn't belong to anyone else, and no one else can actually make it do anything to you. It's all your energy. It's time to let that energy serve you without holding back, without feeling that you have to continue to hide or to cover yourself, to protect yourself, to be cautious about yourself. Now is the time to boldly and fearlessly let your energy serve you. Let's take a deep breath with that. No fearing your own energy. It's here to serve you. It will never betray you. You can run from it, you can hide from it, you can try to regulate it, to slow it down, but ultimately you come to realize it's yours and it's here to serve you. That energy brought about by your consciousness is available to you right now. Take a good deep breath with that. There's something in the air right now. Here it is, December 18th. This recording will be made available to you in the next day or two. Right now, there's something in the air. It's this beautiful winter solstice. It's the grand conjunction. It's the 10,000 ascended masters. It's the end of a very difficult but yet very, in a way, productive year. There's something in the air. Take a good deep breath. That's your energy. Please now let it serve you. As we enter into a new year, but more than that, we enter now, you and the planet enter into a new era. Thank you for allowing me to bring this message now. Go and please enjoy the rest of your holiday season. We have a lot of work to do in the year ahead of us, but work that is not going to be about struggling and not going to be about challenging. It's going to be about really be the living examples of embodied masters on this planet. Let's take a deep breath, feeling into the 10,000 ascended masters, smiling and shining their light upon you. With that, I am Adamus of Sovereign Domain.
And with that, take the good deep breath. Be with that good deep breath. Breathe as we close out this most momentous message. So much there for each of us. Truly momentous. Take the good deep breath. And most of all, as Adamus invites us, we are there to let our energy serve us. Each of us, let your energy serve you. Take the good deep breath as we celebrate this incredible, momentous message. Thank you for being here with us.